scholars and listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Scholar Chit Chat. And I'm your host today, OJ. Today we have a special guest with us, and his name is Ikenna. And he's here because he has successfully navigated the Swedish Institute Scholarship and is here to share his experience with us. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, OJ. I'm excited to be here and share my experience with the Swedish Institute Scholarships.
Thank you so much. So I think the first thing is we would like our listeners to get to know you a bit. So if you don't mind sharing a bit about yourself, like your background, what course of study, because the Swedish Institute Scholarship is such a broad name. So if there's a particular course you studied and whatever you feel comfortable sharing with the listeners, actually.
Okay, thank you, OJ, for this. As you have rightly said, my name is Ikenna, and I will say I am from Nigeria. For my educational background, I studied electronic engineering at my bachelor's degree level, and then solar energy engineering at my master's degree level here in Sweden. So, which actually I studied through a fully funded scholarship from the Swedish Institute that we are about to talk about. Currently, I have, graduated and currently working in Sweden.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm sure a lot of people will be curious about this particular part that you've just mentioned. But before we jump to that part, so for people who don't know the Swedish Institute Scholarship, and this is like their intro to it, how would you introduce the scholarship to them?
Okay, thank you. Of course, the Swedish Institute Scholarship Program is an initiative of the Swedish government aimed at, enhancing the quality of higher education by providing fully funded master's scholarship for ambitious professionals from about 41 countries. So to pursue a full-time master's degree in Sweden. So the beauty of this program is that there is no age limit and you can come with your family. So also I would want to add that sometimes your CGPA doesn't matter sometimes, because I have seen people with 2 third class who actually won this scholarship. So, and I have to add again, this year they introduced another version of it, which is solely for women in STEM. So now we no longer have only Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals, but we also have a Swedish Institute Scholarship for Women in STEM. So,
wow. Yeah, that is so amazing to hear. I did not even know all this. Sweden is looking very, very attractive right now. I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing this overview about the scholarships, about the scholarship. I think plural now, since there's a women in STEM one. It's a very attractive scholarship, obviously. So now that you've kind of given us an intro, what do people need to apply? You've already mentioned like grades are not such a big deal, but I guess you still somehow have to sell yourself, etc. So what do people need to be able to apply?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I talk about what people need, I need to first of all say that this scholarship of a thing, when it comes to Swedish Institute Scholarship, is divided into 2 different steps. And the first step involves applying for your, programs and admission. So, and the eligibility depends on your bachelor's degree and the course you wish to study at your master's level. And, depending on the university and course, there might be several documents that might be required. So, but there are general documents. So the general documents, of course, includes your bachelor's degree certificate, then your transcript. So because you need to have at least finished or maybe in your final year of an undergraduate study before you can qualify to apply for admission into Swedish universities. So we also need the transcripts, like I mentioned before. And the function of this transcript is that for people that graduated from Nigeria, for example, or Ghana, or some countries, so you use this transcript as a way to show your English proficiency. So for Nigerians, Ghanaians, and what have you, people that graduated in these countries actually. So you need your transcript to show your English proficiency. So you don't actually need to write IELTS or TOEFL, but some countries actually need to write that. So my advice is that if you are interested, you have to do a deep research to know the documents that are required. So there are also what we call specific requirements. So these specific requirements are peculiar to courses and universities. So for example, some courses would require you to submit your curriculum vitae, for example. Some would need a certain number of ECTS on a certain subject. So for example, if you want to study biochemistry, for example, they might ask you that you need a bachelor's degree with at least 90 ECTS in chemistry and biology. These are like specific requirements. So it is not enough having just a bachelor's degree, but you also need to meet these specific requirements. Then there are some courses that will also require an SOP, so which can be written or in video. For example, Dalarna University, when I applied for my solar energy engineering, they asked specifically for video statement of purpose. So some courses would require just a written statement of purpose. So, but these are what you need to know when it comes to the admission part of it. So, and then I will also recommend, before you start choosing your courses, it is important to go through a document from the Swedish Institute Scholarship, which they call eligibility, whatever, there is a name for it, eligible programs for Swedish Institute scholarships. So here they have tons of courses from different schools that meet up the eligibility to be considered for the Swedish Institute Scholarship. So now the second step, which I have to assume that now you have applied for your admission into a Swedish university. So for the second step is the scholarship application itself, which usually starts around February every year. So, and there are documents you need for this particular scholarship itself. One of the documents is that you will need motivational letter. So, but this motivational letter, they have changed it in recent years that they no longer have a document for this. You have to fill this online during the time of your application. So you also need a document called the letter of reference. So you need 2 letters of references. So one should come from your place of work. Then another one can come from your university or any non-governmental organization that you are part of. Then you also need leadership experience. There is a form also to document this. So you also need to have admission. So for them to progress your application, you need to be admitted into a university in Sweden, at least by the deadline. So these are the major documents. There is also another one that I think I forgot to mention, your curriculum vitae. So you also need a curriculum vitae to apply for this scholarship. But the good thing is that there are templates for this. So you have a template where you document your leadership experience. You have a template where you document your work experience. You have a template where you document your CV, where you write down your CV. You have a template where you document your references. So but the thing here is that ideally you are not supposed to be the one to fill your reference form. So you have to send it out to your referees and then ask them for references. So that is how it works.
Wow, that's very, very detailed. Thank you so much for sharing that. So from what I understand from what you've explained, first you have to first apply to the university. And the
Yeah,
university, you just have to do what the university wants. They can want anything. It's not
yeah,
standardized across universities, so you have to first apply
exactly.
to that step. Since you said the scholarship starts in February, I'm assuming that you have to have applied to the university before then.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how long does it take for someone to get admission? So if you apply, so what time should you be aiming to apply so that you get admission to be considered for scholarship?
Okay, thank you, OJ, for this question. Every year, admission into Swedish universities, the applications usually open second week of November. So, which is usually between 15 and 16, according to my current experience. So, like for this 2025 session, the application for admission is already in progress as we speak. It started on November 16th or 15th, if I can remember, but it usually starts between these 2 days, either 15th or 16th. So, and then it will run through 15th January. So it is currently on, but we close on 15th January. So after that 15th January, you can no longer make fresh applications, but you can also continue to submit maybe any document that you are yet to upload, or maybe even make your online payment. So you can do this until 1st of February. So,
Okay.
but the time they release admission list varies. So it could be around ending of March or beginning of April. So, but you are expected to have applied for the scholarship before this time.
Oh, okay, okay. So that's very interesting. The timeline is like really clarified now. And I think one question I also had from your previous response is about the document. So for instance, you said you need a transcript. So again as well, to compile the questions, we kind of have asked people, some people that we know that are going through the process or who have asked us questions. And I think one question that came up is about the transcript, for instance. You're supposed to send it from your school. Let's say the person has an Emmanuel at University of Lagos at edu.ng. Can your transcript come from that email? Or what are the requirements for the kind of address that your transcript can come from?
Okay, thank you very much, OJ. What I will first of all say is that it is really important for anyone interested in applying to do a deep research. This is because there are different approaches to different countries. So, and there are things people need to understand. These approaches are not tied to your country of origin, but to the country you graduated from. You get? So, for example, if you are a Nigerian but graduated in Ghana, so according to them, anybody with a Ghanaian bachelor's degree can actually send the transcript by themselves. So the school doesn't need to do that. You get? But if you graduated from countries like Nigeria, Canada, US, and some other countries, then it is the responsibility of your university to send this transcript across to them, and not you as an individual. So, and they didn't state whether it must come from maybe the registrar or whatever, or the people in charge of the transcript. All they mentioned is that it must come from the university, which means that, for example, I graduated from UNN. So the extension of the email must carry at unn.edu.ng, not something like at Gmail or at Hotmail or whatever. So it must carry the extension of the university. That's the major thing they are interested in, and not whoever sent it. So, but I think it's better if it is sent from the specific departments in charge of processing these transcripts. So like for UNN, there is what the I-transcript. If you apply it online, so the email they used to send it is usually itranscript@unn.edu.ng. So if it can come from such emails, it's even better.
Yeah, I agree with you actually. I feel like it's more credible if it comes from that kind of email compared to one that has somebody's name. So yeah, that's definitely. But thank you so much for clarifying that point, because there's been questions about it. So another question that people ask as well is how many institutions they can apply to, or how many programs they can apply to. I know there's also an application fee. Can they get the application fee waived and all the things around that process?
Yeah, you are actually right. This has been a recurring question. So, and I will take my time to explain it in a simpler way for everyone to understand. So, I usually use the analogy of JAMB in Nigeria for those that are Nigerians. When you want to apply for JAMB, you can choose about 4 universities. So, but the way you choose it is entirely your choice. So you can decide to, okay, I think they changed that now. So before now, you can choose it anyhow you want. But now they changed it, federal, state, and blah, blah, blah. So, but for Sweden, you have maximum of 4 universities, 4 courses, maximum. So what this means is that you can decide to choose only 1 university and 1 course. No penalty for doing that. But the only challenge is that if there are too many applicants in that particular course and university, or maybe you get disqualified for that particular program, you don't have any other backup. So everything is gone. That is the only problem. But of course, you can choose just 1 university or 1 program. You can choose 2, you can choose 3, you can choose 4. Then as for how you choose this, it entirely depends on you. You can decide to choose entirely 4 different universities and 4 different courses. You can decide to choose 4 different universities and same course if the 4 universities are offering the same particular course. So for example, accountancy is not offered by only 1 university. So you can say, okay, University of Umeå accountancy, maybe Stockholm University accountancy, University of Gothenburg. So you can choose the same course, different universities. So anyhow you want it, it is entirely yours. For the application fee, yeah, there is an application fee, and this application fee has never changed. It has been the same for a while, and it is 900 Swedish kronor. You can do the conversion according to your country's currency. So, but this is roughly 85 euro. If you are changing it to euro, for example, so maybe 80 euro, between 80 to 85 euros. So if you are a Nigerian, you can try to convert this to Nigerian naira. If you are from Ghana, you can convert it to Ghanaian cedis or what have you. So, but for Nigerian naira, I think due to the current exchange rate, it is between 130,000 to almost 145,000 or thereabout. But you can do this conversion on your own. So when you want to pay. So as for how to make this payment, there are many ways to make these payments. One of the ways is that you can create virtual dollar account in your country or normal domiciliary account. So fund this account with the dollar equivalent of this money. Then you can get your dollar card or whatever, activate it, and then use it to make the payment. Another way is if you have anyone living in Sweden that you know and trust, you can, discuss with that person, and that person can help you make the payment. So while you guys settle at an agreed way, depending on how you guys choose to do it. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for detailing that. So is it only people in Sweden, sorry, this is an aside, is it only people in Sweden that can pay for someone else, but or people anywhere in the world? So if you have relatives in the US or in the UK, not relatives, trusted ones in the UK or in the US, can they also pay?
They can also pay for you. So I have seen some people who were helped by their friends in UK, for example, and some other people who were helped by their friends in US. You get, so anyone can pay it. The most important thing is for the payment to be made.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Another question that we have is the difference between a letter of intent, if it's requested by the school, and a motivation letter that you write for the Swedish scholarship application. So is there a difference, or can they be similar or the same thing?
Okay, thank you very much, OJ. They are entirely different. They are entirely different. So, and the reason why they are entirely different is that letter of intent for the purpose of seeking for admission, they don't have like word limitation. So you can write as long as you want. So, but for the Swedish Institute, the highest I have seen so far is 1,000 characters. So, and people should understand the difference between characters and words. They didn't say 1,000 words. They didn't say 1,000 alphabets. They said 1,000 characters. So what this means is that, when we have, for example, D is THE. It is already 3 characters. And then when I give space, that space is also regarded as a character. So if I give space to write another thing, so I now have another character. This simply means that for the Swedish Institute Scholarship, you are really restricted to how much you can write. And because of this, you need to be straight to the point. Avoid beating about the bush or trying to embellish your write-up. Go straight to the point and try to sell yourself as much as you can. So this is the major difference between the two of them.
That's interesting. 1,000 words is actually not that much when you think about it. So you're right that it really has to be quite concise and powerful and straight to the point. So thank you so much for answering that question. Another question that's similar to it, different, is the fact that some CVs and letters of intent. So you've mentioned the fact that there are templates for some of these documents, but I think for some universities they don't give you a template. So is there a way to approach when there is no templates for these documents?
Okay, thank you. When there is no template for the document, it simply means that you are free to, write it your own way. So the best thing for you to do in that particular situation is to research your Google, for example, for similar statement of purpose before. So you can try to, follow that same pattern. So, but some schools, some universities like Lund University, for example, that I am sure of, they also have templates to guide you on this. So I think Uppsala University also has templates to guide you. But some other universities, without this, you are free to write it the conventional or traditional way that you are aware of.
All right, thank you so much for that response. I believe it's very, very helpful. As you said, do research, right? I believe that maybe people can use the one from Uppsala for a university that doesn't necessarily have a template, like can just use the structure of another template to guide your application to the different universities, I suppose.
You can get a hint on or an idea from it. So, but I won't advise you to, use the template in its entirety. So the reason being that for such universities that have templates, so there are some questions they asked. So in the templates, you just try to answer those questions. You understand what I mean? So, and the templates usually have their name on top and the school logo. So you cannot use this same template for a different university, but you can use that as an idea to know what your letter for that particular school will contain.
Okay, that's really clear now. Thank you so much for answering. And I guess another question still on this filling documents thing, because it's a very big, that's the application, right? So there's a lot of questions about it. So another question that has been asked is that, is there a way to fill the templates? I really don't know what the question means, but if there is some tip that will help people know, okay, this is how you're supposed to fill a template or something, please can you share? Or just what would you advise applicants to do?
Okay, for us to be specific, can you tell me maybe the one you are interested in, is it for the scholarship or for the admission?
Yeah, the scholarship templates here.
For the scholarship, there are several questions that they usually ask. So which one can easily see and answer after downloading the templates from their website. So, but what I will do is that I will try to, just highlight some of the questions that I know they have asked in the past. So, like during my own time, one of the questions they asked was like, you trying to state what you intend to do with the knowledge you hope to gain in Sweden after your studies by the time you return back to your home country. So this is one of the questions they asked. Then another question they asked was, we have what we call the Millennium Development Goals. So they said you should pick one of the Millennium Development Goals and then talk about how your work experience or what you have been doing relates to this particular Millennium Development Goal that you selected. So these are the kind of questions you can expect. So there are really different kinds of such questions. What I will also advise is if you can get the templates for multiple years, it is usually good. So because what I understood, monitoring the pattern for more than, let's say, 5 years in a row, what I found out is that they usually repeat questions. So for example, that question they asked during my own time, that was 2020, 4 years ago. They asked the same question in 2021. They asked the same question in 2022. So it was 2023 that they changed it. So in 2023, they asked a different question. This year, being 2024, they also asked a different question. So, but when I searched the previous years that I had, I noticed that the question they asked, for example, this year came from, I think, 2017. So they went to the question they asked at another year and pulled that question and asked it again this year. So what I am trying to say is that it seems like they no longer ask new questions for now. So, and even if they do, it is just a matter of you finding a way to tweak it, because they will always point towards the same direction. So by the time you start answering it, you will still see that it has a direct correlation with the questions they have asked in the past. So that is it for the template.
Thank you so much for shedding light on that, Ikenna. I agree with you. There's usually like a specific set of things they usually ask. So the questions can be worded differently and be a variant, but you just have to understand that and kind of like say unravel it to see that it's pointing to that same one thing. So thank you so much for sharing that. I don't know if it's the university or the Swedish Institute that asks people to merge their application documents into one. Is that a thing with the Swedish Institute?
Okay, it is not. So there are some documents you need to merge. There are some you don't need to merge. So for example, they would actually need a means of ID from you, which a lot of people use their international passport. So this ID, which is international passport, during my own time, they asked us to include it in our CV, I think. So it was the last page on our CV that particular year. So, but this time around, they no longer do it that way. So you have to upload this ID separately. Then remember that I mentioned that letter of references should be 2.
Yeah.
So these 2, you have to match them as one PDF file since they are similar documents. So they have to be matched as one document. Then your CV will be separate as well. Proof of work, because they have another document called proof of work. So whereby your manager or whoever in your previous place of work will have to attest that truly you have worked with them for so and so number of hours. So that's everything concerning proof of work, because sometimes some people will be able to meet this specific requirement of 3,000 hours of work experience using only one job. Some we need to merge 2 or 3 different jobs to be able to meet this. So if you are using more than one, then you have to merge all of them together as one file, since they are all talking about the same thing, which is work experience. So then for leadership experience as well, if you have more than one leadership experiences, you also need to merge all of them as one document. So in summary, merge similar documents together in summary.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. So that was a very, very detailed explanation. So for my understanding, I think you've mentioned this before, people have to send the reference templates to their referees, then the referees will send it back to them, and then they have to upload it on the Swedish Institute, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then you were also mentioning, as you were answering the question, that people should do research to find previous scholarship templates. And I was wondering if you could share if there's like, is there a specific website where they can find it? Is it on the scholarship website, the previous questions?
Okay, thank you. The truth of the matter is that they usually remove these templates immediately after the application process. You get, so you cannot actually get these templates on their website. So, but the best thing to do is such person can reach out to people who have already gotten the scholarship in the past. So because somehow, because I have been into it, every year I try to download this template for that particular year. So like I have for 2020, for example, I have for 2021, 2022, 2023, even 2024. I have even 2019, 2018, 2017. I think I have up to 2016. So it is the responsibility of the applicants to actually reach out to past winners that might have these templates. And the good thing is that it is free. So for me, for example, I don't charge anybody anything to give them these particular templates. And there are also platforms, online platforms on Telegram. I have one myself. So where people interested in this come together. So, and we do share all these templates there free of charge for all the members to download and use for their preparations.
So we're definitely going to be asking for the name of that Telegram so that we can share with people who would like to join and who would also like to contact you. I mean, free information is cool, and of course I believe it to be very beneficial for anybody interested. So thank you so much for doing that. That's really, really awesome. I think one last question about the whole application thing, something to tie it all up, is about the application fee. So I believe you just pay the application fee once, right? I don't know if you mentioned this previously.
Yeah, you just pay it once. So it's like you pay the 900, it covers for the entire 4 choices that you selected.
So that's very cost effective, at least as much as possible. So thank you so much for that. So I think we're running out of time wrapping up, but I think something very interesting that you've mentioned, apart from the application process itself, is the life living in Sweden. And you mentioned that people can move there with their family, and I'm sure that that's something that makes it extremely attractive. So is there a process for this? Is there a procedure, or how is life as well in living in Sweden?
Thank you for this question. I have to be, really honest here. For me as a person, I would say that life in Sweden is, good and also tough sometimes. So it is good because it is family friendly and affordable. So it's cheaper to live here than compared to some other countries like US, for example. So, but why I say this tough is that if you do your research, you will know that Sweden is, if they are not English speaking country, their main language is Swedish. So even though their main language is Swedish, at least 90% of them are good in English language. But why I say this tough is because they are good in English language, but when you start applying for jobs, you will realize that you will need to know that language for you to have a higher chances of being hired. So to be able to work with English language fully, then you have to look at multinational companies like, for example, Hitachi, Siemens, all those multinational companies. But once it involves indigenous companies, most of the times it doesn't matter your role, you need to know Swedish. It has happened to me a lot of times, and it has happened to a lot of people that I know, whereby you miss out on jobs you are qualified for simply because you don't understand the language. And this is the aspect of it that can be tough. So we know that as adults, learning languages are not easy. But I bet you if you manage to learn that language, you will definitely enjoy your time here in Sweden. So, and there is something people need to understand. If you are here in Sweden with your family, for example, your kids attend to school free of charge, and your spouse can as well further his or her education free of charge up to university level, free of charge.
How about working? Your spouse can work as well?
Of course, 100%.
That's really attractive.
So, and again, you as a student can as well work full-time, 100%, no restriction, as far as you are passing your courses. So your only problem is if you don't pass your courses because you are working. That's where you will enter into a deep problem where you want to extend your permits. So, but if you are passing your courses, it doesn't matter if you are working full-time or not. So they don't have that 20 hours restrictions like some other countries.
Wow, that's incredible. Like it's such a full package. Like the way you've described it is really, really attractive. Yeah, following up on this, your question is, I guess, overall, what are the chances of progressing? Because you've said now, I mean, obviously you applied in 2020, so you've been in Sweden for a couple of years and you're already working after your master's. What are the chances of settling there, and how do you like transition into that these roles after your master's?
Okay, I will start answering this by saying the experience is different for different people. So because the ease of transition will depend on your previous skills and work experience back home before coming here. You get. So some people manage to get a job even before they graduate. So why for some people, they would graduate first, then apply for post-study visa. Sweden issues 1 year post-study visa. So if you couldn't get a suitable job before your graduation, you can apply for this 1 year post-study visa. So which will give you additional 1 year to look for a job in Sweden or start up your own business before that 1 year visa expires. So if after this 1 year and you still couldn't find something, then you have to leave the country. So there are other ways anyway for single guys. Some people that are single can choose to go the route of spousal visa, marrying someone that is a citizen or permanent resident or working here already in Sweden, so they can switch to dependent visa. So this is one way. So it mustn't be through work permits anyway. So, but yeah, there are possibilities.
So that's interesting. I mean, I understand the struggle actually, but yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so obviously there are many ways to settle down. And you mentioned business, and I think you were like, set up your business. I'm like, I don't want us to go into that, but I think what you've just said just means that there are opportunities for people to like transition and settle down. So that's something that people can look into as well. So thank you so much for that response. Just 2 more questions. One question before the final one is, so based on your understanding or based on your like experience of just watching things go, what would you say improves people's chances of getting the scholarship? What's the thing that you found as a consistent thing among people that have gotten this over the years?
Okay, I will say that one thing which is common among most of the winners that I have seen is that they are all change makers. What I mean by this is that when even by interacting with them, you will know that 1, they have experience. 2, they are involved in several development projects. So it could be, NGOs trying to give back to the societies. So problem solvers in summary. So people who usually win these are problem solvers. But there is something that people need to understand. You could be qualified and yet not be selected because it all depends on how you were able to sell yourself. You understand what I mean? It is just like the same as applying for a job. You can apply for a job you are qualified for. You can be called up for an interview and then you flop and they will end up moving on with another person. So it's same here. So you can have all the qualities needed, but the way you presented them during your application matter a lot, because you should remember that no exam is written and you are not there with them when they will be, going through the applications. So you should be clear enough with your future ambition and future goals. So, and also what you have been doing so far. So this clarity and consistency is what I have noticed from the documents of people that have won this in the past. So you have to be consistent, you have to be clear with what you want, and so on and so forth.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that detailed response. So, I mean, applicants, you can hear, you just have to be detailed, you have to be specific, you have to be a change maker, position yourself to be someone that will be selected. I know I said last question, but there's something I realized I've skipped, and it's about the cost of living and how much the scholarship covers for that, and also other things that the scholarship covers for. So, like, for instance, does it cover relocation, visa costs, and is all the money you get? Because you talked about people being able to work full time. Is this because the scholarship you get is not enough for you and you have to supplement? Or is it just maybe building skills and earning more money?
Okay, thank you very much. This scholarship, if I must say, is one of the best scholarships in the world. So I said this because it covers virtually everything. So for example, if you manage to win this scholarship, your study permit is free. You don't need to pay any dime for it. So, but if you are coming as a self-funding, you have to pay 1,500 kroner for your study permit alone, which currently is over, let's say, over 200k in Naira currently. So, but this scholarship will help you with that. Then they also give you full insurance. This full insurance covers your health and even your property. So like when I was still a scholarship holder, my phone screen broke and I was able to fix it, and this insurance they gave me covered for it. You get, so you have insurance. During my own time it was 10,000 kroner per month, but because of inflation they have moved it to 12,000. So currently people get 12,000 per year. So this money is enough for a single person, but it is not enough for a family. So, and also this scholarship is solely for the scholarship winner. So if you are coming with your family, this scholarship doesn't cover your family. So you have to sort that one out yourself. So if you are coming with your family, if you are coming with your family, you have to pay for their visa, you have to pay for their transportation, you have to pay for their insurance and all that. So, but for you as the winner, even though you have to pay for your transportation, but they will reimburse you when you get here, and they have a benchmark for it, which is 15,000 kroner, and it doesn't matter if you spent up to that 15,000 or not. So like during my own time, I spent around 350,000 for my transportation, my flight to this place, but they paid me the same 15,000. So they don't need to ask you to submit your expenses or whatever. It is uniform for everyone, regardless of how much you finally spent. So it's like an awesome scholarship. So, but you know, like Oliver Twist, some people will always want some more. So even though the money will be enough for you, but then you can still decide to work part-time to still make more money. So that's how it is.
Thank you so much for all your responses. I mean, if I was, I did not apply for the Swedish Institute Scholarship in my time, but if I was hearing the information that I know now, I think that I would have gone for it. So, and thank you so much for explaining everything. So it's so clear what everybody has to do. And also thank you for all the free resources that you have and you're willing to share with people. So I believe that people would reach out to you. Reach out to you to get more information. So we'll get the Telegram link as well, and when we post the episode, we'll include it in the description so that people can at least join the Telegram if they're interested in this particular scholarship. So I think I'll just give you the opportunity to wrap up and be like, if there's something else you want to share about the Swedish scholarship that would inspire people, applicants, potential applicants, listeners, anybody, please go ahead and share.
Okay, thank you very much, OJ. So to wrap up this discussion, my humble advice, which I have been telling people all the way from 2020 till date, is if you must win this scholarship, you have to put in the work. And what I mean by this is that you have to study the two important websites for this. The first one is the website where you apply for your admission, which is www.universityadmissions.se. So because the reason why you need to study this one is because you need to be admitted before you can even be considered further for the scholarship. Then the second website you need to study as if you are going to write an exam on it is the Swedish Institute Scholarship itself, which is www.si.se. The reason why you need to study this in details is because on their website, they already mention what they want and what they are looking out for in people. So if you are able to understand this, it will guide you, towards presenting a more suitable application. So like during my own time, I did this. I studied both websites carefully, and with my understanding, I was able to tailor my application towards what they want. Because what people need to understand is that different scholarships, we are established for different reasons. So, and for SI, they are more interested in global professionals, people with the potential to contribute positively to their society and towards the SDG development goals. So you need to understand this and try to craft your experience so far towards this direction. So because I have calculated like the total amount involved during my own time was over $50,000, then the question will be, if you are the person funding this, will you just give out $50,000 just like that? The answer is no, of course. So a deep and thorough research is, instrumental or will be instrumental towards winning this scholarship, and I advise people to invest in this direction. So I noticed that some people, because of work pressure and all that, they don't have time to do this research. So sometimes they will even ask questions that are already there, answered on the website, and then you begin to wonder if actually they are serious about this whole thing. So I advise people to do this. There are also videos on YouTube that you can, go there, watch them, try to, learn from them. There are resources on Google as well, so that you can leverage on. So after doing this, I am very certain that at least you will be better positioned, towards winning this scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ikenna. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, at this position themselves. And I think you also talked about people being pressured by work, and because one thing you mentioned is like people volunteering and even starting NGOs and being like change makers. I mean, it's good to work and make money, but also try to improve yourself, do your research, so that when you submit an application, you would actually stand out from the rest. So thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on the Swedish Institute Scholarship today. I believe that all that you said is invaluable, people. So thank you very, very much. Yeah, and I'd like to also thank all the listeners for listening. Yeah, scholarships like this one can pave the way for incredible experiences and also give you a chance to advance your career, as we have seen them today. So until next time, keep exploring and keep striving for your academic goals.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Scholar Chit Chat. If you found our conversation insightful and enjoyable, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated. We've got a lot more in store and we don't want you to miss out.
We are always diving into topics like this: academics, scholarship, professional life, and the international student experience. It's what makes Scholar Chit Chat your go-to podcast for a fresh perspective. Also, don't keep all this wisdom to yourself. Share this episode with your friends and family who could benefit from it. We are building a community of learners and would love for you to be a part of it.
Your thoughts matter to us. We want to hear from you. Drop your comments and questions in the chat, or send your questions, suggestions, and comments to scholarchitchat@gmail.com. Your input helps shape the future of Scholar Chit Chat.